In this tutorial, we'll demonstrate an example of scheduling one provider to work with a client who has 158 hours per month for the months of February, March, and April. Because the number of days in a month vary, in some cases clients cannot assign the same number of hours to their IP in months with 30 days as in months with 31 days. As you work through building a schedule, if you find you are unable to work the same number of hours in a 30-day month as you are in a 31-day month, please contact the client's case manager. A calendar calculator tool developed by DSHS is a great way to help you plan ahead and avoid working unapproved overtime hours. To download the calendar calculator, visit www.dshs.wa.gov/ALTSA/IPOT. Scroll down to Documents and select Work Week Limit and Overtime Scheduling Tool. Click on the link to open the calendar spreadsheet. Let's take a look at some of the key features of the calendar calculator. In the upper left, you'll see a box for the work week limit. Enter your DSHS assigned work week limit here. In the upper right, enter the name of the client or clients you support. The tool will automatically enter their names into the calendar to the left of each work week. The calendar tool will calculate the total numbers in the work week, which will appear in the first green column. Remember, a work week is Sunday 12 a.m. to Saturday 11:59 p.m., even if it includes part of another month or pay period. The total number of overtime hours for the work week, which will appear in the second column. The total number of hours worked for the month, this is listed in the first yellow box. This number should not be more than the client's monthly hours or your monthly authorization for payment. The total number of overtime hours worked for the month, this is listed in the second yellow box. The total numbers of overtime hours over the limit for the month, this is listed in the red box. If there are any hours listed in this box, you will have worked more than your work week limit. You will need to make changes in the calendar calculator to correct this. Okay, let's get started for February. Because a work week can include part of the months before and after, this first week already includes hours from the end of January that will need to be counted as part of your work week total. In this scenario, you and your client, John, have agreed that Wednesday and Thursdays will be your days off. John typically needs 10 to 11 hours of care on Fridays and Saturdays due to commitments and plans he has for those days. So let's fill those hours in first. Next, fill in hours for the other days where John needs fewer care hours. Check your work week total in the right-hand column to make sure it's not over your limit and go on to the next week, keeping to a similar schedule. The calendar tool will automatically calculate this for you as you enter your hours. You can always adjust your schedule if plans or needs change, but trying to stick to a regular schedule will help you keep track of your hours. Keep in mind that the end of the last week may include part of the next month's hours. It's important to include all hours in a work week, even if they are part of another pay period or another month, and even if the hours are for more than one client. This is what helps you avoid exceeding your overtime limit. Double-check your weekly totals, and then check your total monthly hours to make sure they match the authorized hours for the whole month. Next up, March. Since March is a long month, your average daily hours will be shorter than those you typically work a shorter month. It also means that your work week will also be a bit shorter. Since John needs more support on Fridays and Saturdays, fill in those hours first to ensure that he has what he needs for those days. You'll need to adjust for the extra days in March by working a little less on each of the other days. Otherwise, you will exceed the monthly limit. Double-check the right-hand box for the work week total to make sure you are within the 40-hour limit. And again, check the monthly total to make sure it's within the authorized monthly limit. Adjust your hours as needed to stay within those two limits, work week and monthly hours. Next up, April. For April, as with the other months, start with the days that John needs the most support. In this example, he's asked for a little extra on Fridays and less on Sundays and Mondays. So just subtract by a half hour or more on those days and adjust as you go. Double check to make sure the work week total does not exceed your 40-hour limit and the monthly total does not exceed the authorized 158 hours. We hope this helps you understand how to schedule your work week and month, adjusting for shorter and longer months. Remember, planning ahead before each month you work helps you stay within your weekly and monthly limits. If you have trouble getting started, contact the client's case manager for help.